All right, welcome into the Veteran Sports Podcast. This is college sports spoken by those who serve. No filters, just real ball. And no filters, real ball, real life. I'm Sean, and as usual, joining me is my guy Ian McCants over here. Also tonight, we have a very special guest who knows exactly what it means to compete at the highest level, a former Arkansas Razorback linebacker, SEC-bred, NFL tested. Our guest played under the lights in the SEC. He's seen what works, what doesn't, and what it actually takes to survive at this level. Everybody, please welcome to our show, number 8, Scoota Harris, former Arkansas Razorback and former NFL linebacker. Scoota, we appreciate you joining us, and thank you so much, Scoota, for coming on the show tonight, man. We appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Yes, sir. So let's get I'm looking at your stats here. Like in 2019, you were second team All SEC. Second team All SEC 2018, first team All SEC in 2007, second team All SEC in 2007. I'm sorry, 2017 that is, and then 2016 you were SEC All Freshman team. So you've been around a little bit, right?
Yeah,
you know what it takes to play in the league.
That should have been first team, to be honest.
There you go.
That's what I'm talking about. First team, I was at another school.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about, big guy. That's what I'm talking about. So I'll tell you what, Scoota. So man, just to get with you here, so I got to ask you right off the bat. I want to ask you about the offense. Coach Ryan Silverville being hired, but I really want to get the defensive side of it from you. That the defensive hire of Ron Roberts. So first off, what do you think of the hire of Coach Ron Silverfield?
Shoot, I mean, I think it's a solid hire. Just from what a program at right now. I don't think you really could have got no bigger name to the university at the time. Just probably just because of, like I said, the state of how the program in and how Arkansas is viewed. It's kind of like a coaching killer stop. That's what I've been hearing over the last few years. And that's as far as just like them losing so much, or just not an actual head coach having 2 to 3 years like a normal coach would have in any other situation. But I think it's a solid hire. I really don't think he could do no worse than what we had. And I mean, obviously, if we have success, that's just better for everybody. So, I mean, I think it's a solid hire. I'm really interested to see, what he gonna do. I like what he's been doing since he been hired. I think he is a guy for the job. I think he kind of relate more, just not being that far from Arkansas and Memphis. He kind of relate more to like, what everybody in the state wants, like the fans, and then shouldn't be a problem with getting guys in there for him.
I gotcha on that. So with this right here, what is your realistic expectations year one with under Coach Silverfield?
I mean, shoot, I'll say every year 6-6 because just playing the SEC level, like excuse me, anybody could be beat during that week. So it's it's just all about how you got your guys coached up, ready, and prepared for that SEC play. I think we'll always have enough talent to beat the non-conference schools. So that should take care of half of the 6 wins, and I think we could sneak in, from the bottom SEC schools a couple of wins. But I mean, we have enough talent some years to play with the top dogs in the conference. You just got to be able to pull it off. So I see 6-6. Wouldn't be surprised if he could get 7, maybe 8 though.
Okay, all right. What you got there, Ian? You got anything for him on this, or?
Yeah. I got a question, and I like earlier how you said you should have been first team. I agree, man. I was looking at your stats, very impressive. Especially in the history of Arkansas. But as we know, the way things are now is different. When you played in 17, 18, and 19. So let's say now, okay, you have those same credentials, star player of the defense, and that portal is there. Okay, so new coach comes in, and I think that you gave a very realistic viewpoint of what you expect from Arkansas, right? As a player, as an actual player. Okay, but take yourself back to your college days, but look at it from the standpoint of what it is now with the portal. You could go to that team, you first team All SEC, and you're hoping for 6-6. You're like, nah, man, I'm gonna go to Ohio State or whatever. So what could he tell you to keep you there? as the high achiever Arkansas player that you was?
Shoot, I don't think he could have told me nothing. Especially with just how just with NIL and all that put in there. Like at that time, like I was one of those guys who did want to get out when Brett Bielema and them got fired my sophomore year. Like I did wanted to get out there. Like I did talk to a few buddies in other schools, but it was just I wouldn't have been qualified as far as like academics transferring over. Would have had to sit out a year and stuff. So I wasn't really interested in that. I obviously would have went somewhere to where I didn't have to play Arkansas because I do got love for the school and what they did for me. But I was just one of those guys. I was like, man, I want my degree and stuff too, and I just felt like academically, like I had the support staff there because I went through a lot of things in college, just getting in with my father passing and stuff. So I kind of built a little family there, and then
Right.
schools that I wanted to go to, like LSU, guys wasn't graduating from there. Like it was going to the league, but they wasn't graduating. So I had to
Mm,
like kind of pick and choose, what I want. Like I knew I could still be the player anywhere, I want to be. But academically, I just felt like I was gonna be able to get it done there. But now, since I get the chance to leave, yeah, I don't think he could have told me nothing. Like I'm out of there. I've been there so many
right,
years
right,
suffering,
right.
like just being real. You get a chance to take care of you and yourself and your family. So, and I ain't gonna lie, I'll say this too. If I was in the NIL era, I'd soak up as much money and opportunity as I could because I wouldn't even go to the league after that. If I'm being
Right.
real, like I'm like the way my body felt, what I know now and the way my body felt once I got out of it, like I got out everything I wanted to, but it's like if I'm in that position now, like I never was one of those guys who was shooting to go to the NFL anyways. Like
Right. Right.
it just all played out over time, and I seen it was a possibility, so I started working towards it. But like I was never one of those guys coming in or growing up like I want to go to the NFL.
Right.
So
Right.
like my transition, it all would have been a little different for a lot of different things.
I think that's an amazing viewpoint. So, what was your joy? What did you see yourself doing?
I mean, I grew up playing basketball. I was a two-way guy, mostly playing offense and stuff. Once I was getting into the recruiting cycle my junior year, like it was cool. I was just like, I just want to go to college for free at the
Right.
time, and then like I had to transition to football and just focus on football. So started getting the more love of the game. Just finding out the new kinks within like just learning defense and actually learning how to play linebacker. And then you start learning the history of like Arkansas. Vernon Hargreaves is my linebacker coach, like where he was at in Miami with, all of those linebackers back in the day. So like that was my joy. Like I was an underdog. I just always wanted to, just prove people wrong, prove myself right too. And then I just was going off of that. And as each year went by, I was getting better and better. Like I was like, okay, like I got a chance to go to that next level. Let me see what I need to do, take care of business here and there, each step to where I can actually get there and achieve. So that was my joy, honestly. Just my family, my name, like, my city loved it. Wasn't that many people from where I'm from, actually making it, then just being like a three-star recruit, not really having all the politics on your side. Like that was just a fun journey.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so I follow up on that question right there. So, you committed under Brett Bielema's staff when he was there,
Yeah.
correct? And
Yeah.
so you were, correct me, you're out of Louisiana, right, Scooter?
Yeah.
So what made you? What was the selling point at Arkansas? What made you commit to Arkansas? And also, with that being said, what does Ron Silverfield have to sell at Arkansas that a recruit would listen to?
I'm gonna just speak on him. I don't think he had to sell much because I don't think many people know much about Arkansas. Like when especially for me, when I first heard of Arkansas, the only place I ever heard of was Little Rock, but it just sound country, like boring, nothing to do out there. But now if you get up there to Fayetteville, it's 10 times better than what it looked like when I went there. Small, nice town. The facilities are top in the SEC, top in the country. So I don't think he'll have to sell Arkansas much. They just need the money and whatever else to get guys in there. But for me, Coach John Summerall, that's at Tulane going to Florida. He was at Troy, and I was visiting Troy. He was, just always in my ear, just like, man, I know I won't have a shot, to get you here at Troy. Obviously, I had Oregon, Colorado, Alabama, and all of that, Arkansas. But he was like, I really think you should, take the chance just to commit. just to have like secure yourself a spot, but just go on and take the rest of your visits and enjoy your recruitment process. But yeah, John Summerall kind of like put that in my ear, and then I was close with Michael Smith, the receiver coach. He was from New Orleans, and like I said, Vernon Hargraves, Coach Hargraves was my linebacker coach. So they kind of, that just kind of helped make that decision a little easy. But I would say Jeremy Pruitt was at Georgia, and they had got one commit from their last linebacker. If Jeremy Pruitt probably went to Alabama a few months earlier, I probably would have flipped my commitment though.
Mm.
Oh,
I
so
was I was big on like Jeremy Pruitt and John Summerall, like outside of Coach Hargraves and Smitty. Those are like the only two coaches I really had like a deep connection with. And I mean, they just always kept it so real, all of them. But like, I just feel like, man, it's Alabama. Like, can't really pass that up for real. And then Coach Saban was like,
Mm.
you're an old school kind of guy on both sides of the ball. Like, I just love, what you bring. So I'm like, damn, if you'd have went there earlier, I would have switched my
right.
commitment though. But it is what it is.
Well, what you don't know is that Ian McCants here is probably the biggest Bama fan of all time. We met in the military talking ball, and that's where I learned about him in Alabama. And so, just even just the prospect of that had happening,
Oh,
just
oh,
that would have been nasty back in them years right there. Nasty.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah. And I want them to get Pruitt now. I think he's through his show calls, or didn't they sue or something? So he's
Yeah.
available. And man, he's an asset wherever he goes, brother.
Yeah. He
Wherever he
was
goes.
he for sure he's a big X and O's guys. I honestly, when I sat down with him at Alabama, because he did get there, but it was a week before signing day. And
Mm,
I took my last official there. Me and Josh Jacobs. I met Josh Jacobs there.
yeah, yeah.
And I was just going through running the defense with Pruitt, and I'm like, it's easy. Like, I just felt like it was home with him. And then he was just like, man, you really gonna go somewhere where they promise you, you could play early and this and that. And I'm like, well, shit, coach, I don't even have an actual scholarship here at Alabama. So I'm not about to just let go somewhere who wants me and then, just risk it
Right,
all and come here like a
right.
gray shirt. I was like, nah, that's not me. I was like, if y'all had a spot early, I'll come. But nah, he for sure he was 100% in on me though. And I respect that about him though.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. I like that. Well, I'm glad for Arkansas's sake that you came over and and a lot of people don't realize I was there when I was there I think when Bumper's second year Bumper Pool I'm talking about in Grant Morgan. You taught a lot of those guys how to play ball on defense.
Yeah.
After you left, like you don't think you did, but they did. Like you really did. You know, but it was after you left and saw them play. Uh, they tried to emulate what you did and how the run stopper
I
that you
seen
were.
that.
Because I
I
mean, dude,
seen
no
that.
one, dude, you were brutal on the run stop, bro. I mean, like you paid the price when you came through that gap a lot of times there, and I do remember that about you. And man, wow, I didn't realize how close it could have went. You could have went and been at Alabama. That's a good story right there. Great story.
I got a question though. Something that you just mentioned, Sean, and like I said, I was looking at your stats. Top 5 Arkansas history tackles, and as a veteran, man, sometimes we walk the line between emotion and an actual cause, right? And so I look at football today, and I see like they're really holding the defense back. They're scared to hit. And as a a recliner football fan, I can sit here all day and say, "Oh, they're making the game so bad." But when you're around a player or former player, and you can see the difference in their speech and stuff like that, then you understand, right? So, how do you feel as a former player with all those tackles? Do you feel like you would be handcuffed in today's time, or do you think that it's good for the overall humanity or player safety?
Some of it good though, but I feel like they handicapping, the defensive side of the ball because I was always taught, I feel like I played the game the right way. I tried to, hit the right way. I was just blessed that I never had no real injuries or concussions. So I could kind of speak on it. Say I felt like I did it the right way though, but I feel like I don't think I would have lasted in today's game. I don't think I would
Right.
have for real because I was trying to run through somebody's face, and the full from the first whistle to the last whistle, not really easing up on guys. So I know I would have had to for sure dial into the rules and stuff like that and try to lock in, but it would have for sure affected my game. I feel like.
Right.
I
Right.
do. Yep. So let's switch gears up here a little bit, guys. So we talked about we're here. So now let's talk about Arkansas hired Ron Roberts. I think if I'm not mistaken, came out of Florida.
Yeah.
Scooter, do you know anything about the coach at all? Do you know anything about his philosophy or anything like that at all?
Nah, I mean I watched Florida a lot though this year.
Okay.
I seen what
Well,
their defense was working with though, but I didn't really dial in much. To him. I think he was at Auburn a few years ago, right?
I believe yes, sir. Yep, he was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So you said you watched Florida. What popped out for you on their defense, if anything at all, did? And what do you think that's going to? How do you think that's going to translate over to Arkansas?
Well, I seen. I mean, they was aggressive. Like they was flying around from the jump, especially early on in the year against all of the top schools. The LSU's, Miami. And I'm like, even though like they offensive side put them in a bad situation though, but I just think their defense, held their own. Like I said, they was flying around. They was hitting. Their defensive backs was active a lot. They was versatile. And I think they sent pressure here and there though, like a 3-3 stack though, if I'm not mistaken though. But I think the most important thing I was excited about was they raised on defense. Cause even though they always was giving the short end of the stick, starting off probably on the side of the field, but they wasn't giving up many points. Unless it was like late into the game or something. When you're on the field so much you get tired. It's only so much you could do. But I felt like, they raised on defense was amazing. They was winning the 3-and-out and winning the turnover battles, just giving up field goals. So I think that'll be a plus for Arkansas, especially if he could get his staff in there and get out in the portal early and recruit some guys. I think he could grab a few guys here and there that's actually like SEC caliber players, and then also build on some depth and stuff. So I'm excited for him too.
All right, good. Well, this year, looking at Arkansas's defense, man, oh my God, we can pick apart that defense this year. Pretty. They it wasn't very good to say the least. I think they ended up finished 107th ranked out of the NCAA. What on that? As a former player at your school where you got a degree at, that that you showed love to for 4 years there, what stuck out to you and what disappointed you the most as a former player? What got to you the most?
And I'm not even gonna say I'm disappointed in it because, well, I am disappointed in the school because they put most of the money into the offense and didn't put nothing into the defense, and then we expected the defense to be a top defense in the SEC. Like we getting a bottom of the barrel JUCO, I mean not JUCO kids out the portal, who was at smaller schools, but you're not bringing in no top guys. We're not building no depth around them. And then I didn't really like how they let T. Will go once they gave Bobby Portis the keys. Because it's like, I mean, you already did what you did with the defense. It's like now you're going to take away their head guys, some of their position coaches, and expect anything out of them different when it's going to be the same thing. So I just felt like it was a lot that went into that side of the ball that the university didn't, resource wise, didn't really help T. Will and that side of the ball because even like reporters were saying in the spring, starting spring ball, like you could just tell the big difference. It was a big difference compared to the offense and the defense.
So what you're saying, basically, most of the NIL money went on the offensive side versus the
Yeah,
defensive side.
yeah, all of it went on there. Like we had no depth on the D line. We had a freaking first round defensive end. We not putting nobody opposite of him. We not developing no younger guys. So many younger guys that played last year didn't really get a chance. I didn't really like. I don't know what scheme T. Will was running with them or what caused them to look like so lost and confused out there. But I mean, you've seen that a lot between them. Like I just don't know what was going on, and that was disappointing though, just to see the effort though. Because I mean, I went through the same thing those guys went through. Like we was what 4-20 my last 2 years, 2-10 both of them my last 2 years, and at the end of the day, like even though we suck and I know we weren't gonna win, it's like I'm still going out there and playing for myself. Like I'm still gonna put some good film on there. Like I'm still gonna show like I'm one of the top guys in the conference. Like I'm just not gonna let y'all push over on me. So that was a little disappointing. I feel like some guys just kind of just gave up though. But I mean, I can't really blame them. I don't know what's going on in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think with the NIL, with the money, do you think, well, see, I would be, to me, if you're on a team like that, to me, I would be playing, you know, how you, like you just said, I play to put film out there to show the league, right?
Right.
Now these guys should be playing to put film out there to get that NIL money from the next team that's going to come calling. That's
Yeah.
the difference. And I will tell y'all this, and I know Chris here at some point, if I can get the stats again up here, but I'm sorry, yeah, your stats. But even during those lean years, your first year, people don't realize that's the only time you went to a bowl game. That was the Belk Bowl.
Yeah.
Right there. The rest of the time, it wasn't pretty at Arkansas, but you still led the SEC in tackles and most, or it was a leader there at all those years, and you did all, you know. So when you said, you know, you still played for you played, you did absolutely one, because the stats don't lie, and now that's why I kind of feel you feel like people quit, gave up.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here going, that's how you generate your next NIL deal, is by what you put out on film right
Yeah.
there. Would
And
you
I
agree with
can't
that?
speak. I do, because I can't speak on the coaching. Like, you know, as you get to each level, you know, you see, obviously, you know, there's some BS coaches in there, but like, I just can't say the coaches left the players hanging. I feel like, you know, with the NIL is a big distraction. So it's like, how much time are you guys really putting into this though? Because, you know, a lot of people, like a lot of kids don't know how to watch film. If they freshmen, they damn sure don't know how to watch film the right way. They don't know what they watching. They don't understand schemes or just how to go about preparation in general. So I wouldn't try to be like it's the coaches. I would just say it go hand in hand. But that
Right.
NIL is a big distraction because, like I said, I still at the end of the day don't understand why a player would go out there and put, you know, bad film out there, or, you know, just embarrass themselves without knowing what to do.
I got you. I got you. Well, I remember one time you and I were in class, and I remember it was your last year. I don't know. You remember, you're laughing, and I remember you were pretty down on the coaching staff because, and I remember you telling me, you like, Coach, I gotta take care of me. Like, this is, you know, for me. And I know and I remember Cam was there. Cam Curl. I'm speaking of Cam Curl, was
Yeah.
in charge of that, and Cam felt the same way. And of course, I knew when the coach lost the locker room, and that had happened way back when. But I just
Yeah.
felt so bad for you guys because, dude, like you and Cam were putting up baller stats, man, on defense, bro, and there was no recognition there. So, hats off to you, because that shows character and heart and class, man. And you know, as a Arkansas guy and a former student there, man, I appreciate that. And you know, and I appreciate your honesty with what you're talking here, man. It's absolutely amazing. And Ian, if you got some follow up, you go ahead, Mr. Ian. I've been talking way too much.
Yeah. No, I've been loving the conversation, and you know, you mentioned a lot of things that I paid close attention to, and I want to talk about scheme, right? So, you know, earlier you were talking about Coach Jeremy Pruitt and how his defense, you know, you felt that it was easy, right? And so I was reading up on this coach Ron Roberts, and every article that I read, they feel that he's a defensive mastermind, but they talked about how complicated his
His
defense
game
is,
is.
right? So when you compare, because see that I had this problem with Coach Saban. You know, he to me was a CEO type, but if you talked about his defensive influence, it was the corners.
Right.
But I can't tell you how many years, man, we had all that talent, but they just would not look back at the ball like PI.
Yeah.
And so, do you feel that sometimes these coaches can be too complicated? And then you add on top of that, where, like you said, you know, Arkansas, as of now, you know, might get the lower type, you know, JUCOs or whatever that may
Yeah.
not put the work in or have the capacity to absorb the system. So
Right.
how does that factor in your opinion?
I'll say that anything is possible. Like I wouldn't accept that a coach can't get the best out of a player or a player can't learn a scheme. Because I call myself an in-betweener. I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the highly recruit. I felt like I was just in the middle. So I had to like force myself to learn everything the right way, and then go out there and show it on the field. So I just feel like some guys, some coaching schemes are difficult, but you got to keep it difficult because the game is growing each year.
Mm,
Offenses are throwing multiple things at you. On defense, you can't sit in something basic because you got pre-snap reads anyways. So you beat. And I feel like we was doing that a lot my last year at Arkansas because we had younger guys and we couldn't develop them fast enough. So we were sticking in the basics. And as I prolonged and got to the league, I always ask myself, maybe to some of the assistant coaches, like, why we don't run this a certain way? Like why we just don't do this? It might help the defensive end or the linebackers and safety out communication wise. And they like, if we could simplify everything, we would. This is the best we could simplify because the offense will always have an answer for everything you throw out there. So I was like, and it was like, if we simplified in one defense, you got to run it the opposite way. We're probably the same guy or a different, position or whatever, or the same package, the same play, but just in a different scheme or whatever. And they said, we can't keep it the same way. We got to switch it up. So at some point, you just got to accept, that football is it's a hard game, obviously. Like everybody got to understand that it's a hard game and you got to keep growing as the game grow.
right. Speaking of it being a hard game, I got a question for you. I was looking at your journey. Start with the Patriots, going to the Packers and the Commanders, where it looked like you were, really, really, really,
Yeah.
excelling there. But my question for you is, a lot of times as fans, we don't have like we know what the stars, we think we know what the stars do, but I love that HBO series that sort of it talked about like the players. It's hard to make a roster, man. What is it? 53? 50, is
Yeah.
it 53 or
It's
55?
53. It's 53.
And I can't imagine like, you're there and this guy's literally walking around with a binder, to tell you that you're cut. So how was that for you? Because I get the impression, to me, you remind me of a veteran. Okay, you excelled, but at the same time, you weren't too blown away by all the lights, camera, and action. You like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride this way, but if it doesn't work, I'm grounded enough in my reality to know that I might need to go a different way. So, how was it for you in such a cutthroat business? Where you probably weren't driven just off of wanting to fit in. So, how are you able to survive that? What's your mentality?
Man, honestly, those politics are way different up there because you at the highest of the highest now, and like they don't give a damn how you feel about it. They'll play right in your face, do you dirty right then
Mm,
and there. Like either the coaching staff, the GM, sometimes, or like it's never like everyone on the same page. There's always one person. Like the coach might like you this year, but the GM might want another guy or whatever like that. But yeah, I mean, I made the 53. You could say 2 out of my 4 years, two of them with the Commanders. But my 1 year with Green Bay, 1 year with the my first year with the Patriots, like I was always that 54 man cut, like waiting all morning because it started at
right,
6 and it ended at like 4 p.m. And I'm like always was cut at like that 55, 54 or something like that. And it's just like that hurt more than being cut early on. I'd rather them call me first,
right,
release me and tell me y'all gonna bring me back on practice squad or whatever. But it was more difficult with the Commanders because each year they always asked me to do something different. I got there off the street, came in, played special teams, and backed them up from a few injuries. And they always asked me like, "We need you to show like some more flash plays in the pass game, just in the defense. Do everything they ask in camp." Obviously I mess up like everyone else mess up, but I just felt like my mess ups wasn't. I couldn't do that. I'm one of those guys who I got to be perfect to them, but that's unrealistic to me. But yeah, I was just kind of over it, man. I beat out 3 or 4 guys they bring in. I beat them out through camp, send them on packing. I make the 53, and then they'll call me back the same day, release me, put me on practice squad the next day, bring in a vet,
mm,
and then put me in, then bring me back up eventually. But it's just like so much that was going into it, and at that time I was just tired of moving around. So I was just, I feel like I got too comfortable, but I knew like that staff, the linebacker coach like me, Ryan Rivera did too. But the DC and the rest of them, like they just never signed me, like just let me go ahead and get a chance to play. I'd have been in there with The only time I got to play was COVID, and we didn't have no choice. The whole room was wiped out. We only had like maybe 40 people on the team, literally.
Hmm.
But every other year after that, it's like, man, I was prepared. I'm like second string at every linebacker spot, whatever, just never got a shot. So I should have took my chances and went, elsewhere, but I was just tired of it. It gets old, honestly. Like the money is cool, but like at that point I was just like, man, not really having fun with it too.
Right.
So if I was somewhere else starting off, like I should have just stayed in New England. I tell a lot of guys where you start off at, stay there. Like those guys poured into like, just want you to be there, even though it might not feel like it though, but they know that's where you need to stay at. Like that's the foundation. You don't want to run off somewhere else because like in Green Bay, my DC got fired. So the next year they bring in someone else. That's why I had to leave there. Did good on special teams, but the guy who wanted me gone. And same thing in Washington is just like never could like actually build that foundation like Ricky's build their whole rookie year. You get to pass your whole rookie year, and I wanted to go elsewhere or whatever. And that's why I was just like, man, I got to man up and just stick it out. But it was just understanding the business side of it too. I can't really get too much emotional from like those decisions because it's out of my hand. I did what I could do, and I just had to live with the results though after that though. So that business side of it and those politics was kind of rough, but I kind of forced myself to learn that and embrace that side of it my rookie year though.
Right. Right.
All right.
Absolutely.
So I got a question on that. So when you were an SEC linebacker, one of the top linebackers in the SEC, and then you got drafted, or you got into the league. If I'm sorry, it was you weren't you were not drafted.
Drafted, yeah, undrafted.
You undrafted. You were okay.
Mhm.
So with that, what was you always hear about the speed of the game from high school to SEC to SEC.
Mhm.
How big of a gap was it between the SEC and NFL to you?
I don't think it was a big gap. I mean, guys are in the league is just way bigger. Like the lineman is way bigger. That's really the difference. I mean, receivers, like I feel like everyone in a skill position to build like safeties and DBs, I feel like, but guys, like the speed of the game was the same for me.
Okay.
Honestly, it was just like in the league, it's just spots. You just pick your spots. Like they throw the ball to a spot, they run, certain routes, movements is a spot. So I feel like that was the biggest difference for me. And then you got to process the plays and stuff faster. That's it though. But the actual speed of the game, just chasing around folks and running around on the field, was kind of the same to me. Just because we
Okay.
played in the SEC though.
Right, right. And you were
Yeah.
you were one of the best in the leagues. So I asked Rakeem this question and I got an answer. I want to ask you this. So of all the years that you played in at Arkansas in the SEC, I played high school and some of that, and I still remember this team. But what was the one team that you played year in and year out every year in the SEC on the schedule that you knew, oh, it was going to be the one you needed to tighten your chin strap up. You knew it was going to be a slobber knocker, that they were coming hard, and you had to match that intensity. What team was that team to you?
I would say Bama, LSU, but I feel like it got to be like Ole Miss.
Really?
Mm.
Ole Miss or Mississippi State. Because I don't know. Ole Miss always played us hard. Like, it was always a good game.
Right.
But, like, it's just something about those Mississippi teams. Like, I don't know who pissed them off because we was sorry. I don't know why he was playing us like that, though. But, like, you had to buckle up your chin strap and play against them for real.
Okay. All
Maybe because
right.
we all was in the same boat, like the bottom of the SEC kind of teams, and everybody had something to prove. We had good games, good histories in the past, though. But I mean, obviously, you got to buckle up your chin strap for Alabama, but they whooped us so much, so fast, and then like I feel like they took their foot off the gas throughout the games. LSU for me was just always it was kind of like them in Texas A&M was easy games for me. I was always looking forward to playing against those teams. Like for them, they wasn't that physical to me. Besides
Really? Okay.
the year they had Leonard Fournette and Geis, my freshman year, but other than that,
Mm.
though, I feel like those Mississippi teams, you had to buckle your chin strap up like all 4 quarters every year.
Mm.
Okay. So a lot of people don't know this, but you're hoping to get into coaching and hopefully get on a collegiate level starting out. So let's say, for instance, right now, you're the linebacker coach at the University of Arkansas, brand new come in. What is going to be your message when you go in and talk to your new group of guys? What would Coach Scoota have to? What would be that message? That first message to them guys,
How can we make this? How can we make this room the one of the top rooms in the SEC? Honestly,
right?
got to make sure, got to learn and understand my players. What they good at, what they not good at, where they come from. Um, as far as the emotional side of it too, though, you got to learn that about your players though, because some of them be too much emotionally into the game. You got to learn how to control your emotions with this new generation though, but. I'll just be in there trying to see, what can I do? How can I get those guys to play, their best brand of football and, be better men off the field.
I got a follow up question to that. Okay, so beautifully answered. Okay, so let's flip it reverse. Okay, so like you talked about, and I love the way you talked about Pruitt. You knew he was all in, but that gray shirt wasn't working. So
Yeah.
like, what's red flags? Okay, so like if you're a recruit and a coach comes in saying this, you should be like, up, red flag. What would you say that is?
Promising me things. I hate a coach who promise things because at that level, you can't really promise things. The first thing I was taught, because my brother-in-law coached me in high school, it's like, you're going to have guys coming in every semester, damn near JUCO, high school, whatever, early enrollment to come take your spot. And you should never be able to get comfortable, except that a coach could do something for you.
Mm.
So I feel like red flags to me is just promising, a recruit things when like say that recruit might not even be ready. You might promise him to start though, but he might not come along fast enough as you think. So like I hate a coach who just walk in promising things. Like I shoot it straight forward to me. Like I was one of those guys. Like whatever I'm doing that's bad, like let me know what I need to work on because it's only gonna help me than help the team. So that's some of my red flags. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So, all right. So, I tell you right. So, Scoot, I got a question for you here. Have you watched any of the college football playoffs? We're going to switch gears here a little bit. Did you watch any of the college playoffs this last weekend?
I watched a little because I actually like the JMU, man. It was putting up points on folks this year,
Oh,
respectfully. I watched
so
a
I was
little.
I was at that game. I got to go. I got some tickets at the last minute to go see that game. And I tell you what, the JM fans, I was sitting in front of them. They showed up, and I tell you, people didn't give them credit, but JMU put more yardage out. They put more
Yeah,
yardage out on Oregon than any other team has. I mean, they played them. They
points.
played if they had a defense there, that would have been like, and they outplayed them in the second half. They scored
Yeah,
more points. It
So
was like
what
20.
quick question on that. Was it the starters or what was it had they put the second thirds in?
No, I do. They never put it.
they sprinkled a few in here and there though, but
Okay,
they ain't
okay.
just switch like
Yeah, but it
the
wasn't. It wasn't
ones
all
and
like.
twos.
Yeah, they didn't put everybody in like you would think. It wasn't like that.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
they
So
sprinkled in the here though. It's just I've expected JMU to cover that 20 and a half what it was, which they did. Because, like I said, they could score points, though. I just felt like the nerves, the excitement. I mean, Oregon should have scored and beat them by 20 points, though. But I thought JMU was going to at least find a footing in the game and
Right,
then be
right.
able to, like, do something, though.
So how do you feel about it? Like I watched Cam Newton today, and to me, he made a great point. He was like, there's no Cinderella stories in football.
Right.
They can do that in basketball. So, you seem to be, you know, uh, empathetic to JMU, but at the same time, as a high level performer, as you were at a major college university, do you feel like they take up slots from schools that actually deserve it?
Nah, because that's how I feel. I'm like, they first made that format and included those G5 schools in there. So obviously you said it wasn't a problem. Why now, 2, 3 years later, they should be punished when they took care of business? It's not like they was on some Duke type of stuff where they had like a 6 and 7 and they go to the playoffs. Like now that's a different topic. Like they took care of business, and I feel like other schools should have taken care of business too. If you want to be in, then you go take care of business. Like blah blah blah. You playing the SEC level, different competition, but it's just like, hey, if you beat like Vanderbilt, you beat the Texas and the Alabama, y'all in.
Right.
Like Miami, y'all got lucky because of a few teams lost into the at the end of the season though. But it's just like, man, take care of your business. You control your own destiny. That's how we was always taught though. and you went and you let everybody else figure out the rest at the end. So I feel like, those teams did what they should have did, man. They won out rightfully, and they deserve the chance to be in there. Feel like you shouldn't take it away. Now, do I think I don't like the way some of the seedings have went all year, because that's the reason why some of those teams didn't get in. But you got to start putting these Notre Dames and all these guys into a conference if y'all want to be included into the big dance.
Yes,
So can't
absolutely.
cry about it at the end when you don't make it. It's a lot of schools like Vandy had a reason to cry about not making it, but at the same time, you guys lost. Do I agree with Alabama being in there after losing how they lost into the conference in SEC championship? I feel like they should have been one of those bubble teams though, but it's like who you take them out there for
Right,
Yeah.
right.
at
I
the
agree.
same time. So it's just so much that go into, like, every year someone's going to complain about something and have a different point of view of things. I'm just like, well, you got 12 teams. What's next? 16 teams? I just
Probably so.
like I don't know what's next though, but I feel like you can't punish those G5 schools for taking care of business. And then on top of that, the ACC sucks so bad this year. That's the only reason why both of them got in there.
You're right. You're
It would have
right.
Yeah.
just been one, but the ACC didn't take care of business. So I mean, I'm really not all for, like, just the normal answer from everybody else is like, these little schools get in there and they get blown out. Well, the big schools got in there last year and got blown out, so it's not that much of a difference,
Great
honestly.
point.
Like
Great.
I mean, I knew freaking Oklahoma wasn't a good team. Honestly, they did what they did, but they just wasn't a good team. One of the best teams to be in there. But they was in there though. They won a game, so it is what it is. But I'm not trying to take someone out because you don't think they as talented or don't deserve a spot. Because the top school's gonna blow them out. Like, they blow out any school in any conference each year, so it don't really matter.
Right.
Well, Scoot, if you look right there on your screen, right there, right. I don't know if you can see it, but so
Yeah, I see it.
okay, our producer pulled up there. So what we got here is the next round of games here on the New Year Eve and New Year Day bowls here. So you got Texas Tech and Oregon 4-5 in the Capital One Orange Bowl.
Yeah,
So what was and then so what so if you had to pick a winner on that or pick who do you like for that game?
man. I honestly say Oregon win though, but I had picked Texas Tech for some reason.
Mm.
Okay.
I
Okay.
picked
All right.
Texas Tech. I picked
Good.
Indiana.
Okay. So you
Um,
Indiana over Alabama. Okay. You just
yeah,
all
I
right.
picked. I like Ole Miss, but for some reason I just picked Georgia. Like, Georgia's just like one of those Alabama, those old Alabamas. Like, they not exciting right now though, but it's hard to beat them. They just know how to win,
Hmm.
and they
Right.
post their will on you. Like, they just know how to win. So I feel like Georgia will get past Ole Miss again. But this last game is kind of, I don't know, Ohio State and
I
Miami,
agree.
man.
I agree. I
I
agree.
don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But every time I'm high on, Miami though, they show up and stink a egg. So it's like, man, but I just don't see Ohio State just lining up and just running through Miami though. But shit, you
Right.
never know. I
Right.
don't
Yeah.
know. I'm gonna go with Ohio State, but I think it's gonna be a close one though, man.
It's going to be a lot closer than
It's gonna be
Crystal
a lot
Ball.
closer.
He got some SEC ties, man, and he know how to
Yeah,
make that game ugly.
yeah.
And when they do that, man, it's going to level up really fast. I
I
agree
think
now.
I think a lot of teams go with Indiana philosophy of how they approach
Mhm.
that game against Ohio State. Just how they was able to control. I mean, like, you can't stop Jeremiah Smith and those receivers, but you could kind of control, slow them down a little. Make them play the slow game instead of going deep for everything. Though, so I think Miami got the athletes though, and it's gonna be hard for Ohio State to block that front.
Right, right,
It's gonna be hard. Like, I feel like Indiana exposed a lot of those flaws, but I just think that it's an even playing field all around now with the NIL. So at this point, you
Right.
never know. That game could go either way.
Yep. I agree with you on that. So if you pick right now for your who you think will be the playing for the national championship there, who do you pick for your to be the national champion?
I think I had did one on ESPN. I picked
Uh
Ohio State to win. Is it Ohio State or Miami? I forgot what, because I did two. One time I did Ohio State, one time I did Miami. But I
oh.
had
Okay.
both of them. I had both of them playing either one of them playing Indiana in the championship.
Okay.
mm,
I
So
feel like
so either
Indiana come out that side. So, but it's out of
okay.
Ohio State or Miami, man.
Okay, so you're going Indiana for sure on one side of the bracket, and Ohio State, Miami on the other one.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Well, hey, big guy. Before we get you off here, is there anything you want to say? You got anything you want to throw a plug out for? Anything? What you got going on, or anything like that, big guy?
Nah, I mean, like I said, I've been trying to get into this high school out here. I've been talking to a lot of private school coaches down here in the Dallas area. So any day I feel like it could start off, just trying to get into the marketing communication on that side too, because a lot of them don't have that.
Right.
And then coach football and basketball.
Okay. Well, hey, if there's any coaches out here, college coaches especially out here, and Scoota, I'm talking to one tomorrow on your behalf, and I will get with you tomorrow and let you know who and figure out. But I am not promising anything, but I'm promising to get some names up and see if anybody can. This guy I know will help out. Will help you out, and because he actually knows you and you know him, and we'll talk about it later. But Scoota, with that being said, my man, thank you so much for coming on, dude. This was an amazing podcast. Like, dude, you gave some straight up, just like no bullshit answers, man. Like, totally didn't see this coming, dude. A great show. And Scoota, anytime you want to come back on this show with us, bro, just say the word. We'll make room for you any day of the week and twice on Sunday, my man.
No, appreciate it. Shit, it's whatever. Whenever y'all got some free time, just let me know.
All right, we will, dude. And everybody, we're gonna throw you down into the studio out of here. So everybody say goodbye, and we appreciate you, Scoota. Man, I tell you what, man, Ian, that was a refreshing, honest, like no bullshit, deal right there, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's a different breed. Obviously very intellectual, and I love that, man. Don't give us the standard company answers, even if it's something. Look, he achieved what he achieved, and so even if he said I might have went this way or whatever, that doesn't diminish his legacy at all. But it is great, to hear those refreshing, honest answers, and man, that's what we're all about. That's what we give, and it's great to get it back.
And you know what? And hats off, like, how effing close he was with Jeremy Pruitt going to Alabama, man. Oh my God. Like, dude, that's one part. I've sat in class with this guy before. We never talked like that, but dude, that was some good stuff. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Like, can you imagine him on those teams during that time?
Oh my God.
He would have been a starter. Ain't no lie. He'd have been a starter.
Absolutely. And see, that's one of the things I was going to ask him. You kind of hit the question, but I was like, we always hear in Alabama, you roll that helmet out and the game's won. But I didn't feel that way from like 15, 16 on. Now we won some championships, but I don't feel that teams were in awe of that script A, the way that they were before. And so I wanted to hear his perspective on that, how they approach those games, man. So.
Oh. Well, Scoota says he can answer that real fast if you want to. We'll bring you back on here.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go, Scoota. That's that smile right there, y'all. That smile right there is Scoota's. That's Scoota Harris smile.
What really got him was, so they was waiting on a commitment from the two number one linebackers in our class. Ben Davis was the number one inside linebacker. And Mac Wilson was the number one outside linebacker.
Right.
Mac was already coming because he was from Bama, but I think Ben was too. And they always, every day I think about it, I say, Ben Davis didn't turn out to be shit.
Never, man.
Like,
this is heartbreaking to hear.
They bought in Dylan Moses from Louisiana too. And I was just like, another undersized linebacker. Then they bought in Christian Harris after that. Yeah. So I was just like, he'd always eat me alive though. But I was like, man, I ain't really need to be at Bama anyways. Like, I was where I need to go.
There you go. Let's see. Look, you know what? We ain't scared to bring our guests back on.
Man, Ben Davis, Bama fans are shuddering right now.
Man,
just listening to you.
Man, for sure took away a spot though. But if he was not in the mix, Pruitt would have had me.
There we go.
I'll tell you this, and I hope you look it up. Ben Davis had one of the best commitment videos you'll ever see, and then we never heard from him again.
Played 1 year at defensive end towards our Texas,
like he transferred to Texas or something like that, right?
He transferred to a smaller school, I think. Honestly,
okay.
Like he went like D, not D2 though, but like a small school because they moved him to defensive end.
Right.
So I was like, man, he kind of just was in the way, man.
You know, Mac
He
did
was in the
his thing a little bit, but that Ben Davis, oh my God, man. I'm sorry. On behalf of Bama Nation, I'm sorry, brother.
man, because I for sure. I took the official and all that down there though. I was kind
Yeah,
of over it though. Yeah, I was over it. I was like, man, Bama's so damn boring. It's just football and
that's
school
it.
out there though. But I said I see why Bama is Bama.
Right,
Right.
right.
Well, I tell you what, Scooter, we're just gonna leave you on because I got a question for this is for Ian because I want him to break down because we got another show on our platform. And by the way, if people you out there listening, we got quite a few viewers right now. Go hit go check us out on X at College Crew, both C's capitalized, and then go over to YouTube at College Sports Crew there and hit that subscribe button. That's where we make our money right there. That's where we want to see some subscribers, and we sure would appreciate y'all doing that. But one of our shows, we talk ball. We got a guy named Austin, and he's a Bama, and he wasn't happy with the Bama win. So Ian, I want you to tell me because you have a whole different perspective on that, and I want you to tell me about it.
And it's what we did a pregame show, and I was like, I want to see a suffocation, and that's what I saw. And this is the thing, man. We beat them the way that they beat us, right? When the last game we played, we led in every statistic except the one that matters. Ty made a lot of mistakes. He had a pick six, and that's what happened this time. Now the punt was a fluke. Okay, if you run that a million times, you're never gonna see that. The only time I've seen something similar, there was a kicker this year that was running up to kick the ball and he kicked the dirt. It was like weird. It was like, you're going for the under, buddy. We know what that is. But with this, Bama, they went on what was it, 24-0 run, 31-7 the end of the game. Man, the defense played great. Mateer came out there and he did what a lot of quarterbacks do against Bama. The Stephon Garcias, they have this game. They look like freaking, Joe Montana, then they disappear. That's what Mateer was doing. But, DeBoer, he circled back and they suffocated them, man. And that's what I like. I got a lot of fulfillment out this game. Now, do I think that Bama's going to win the championship? No. You got to have a running game, and they all suck. All of them. Jam Miller, pathetic. The guy out there, they're all we got a talented guy. I guess he can't pass block, AK Deer.
Right.
But outside of that, man, you're not going to run a championship not being able to run. Ty Simpson, he's okay, but he's not a world beater, and so he's not just going to sit back there and pick them apart. So, Oklahoma, quit being regular season champs, man. We don't care. Y'all are the worst blue buds in history.
Texas A&M too.
Yeah. We don't want to hear it. Go cry with Notre Dame. We don't care.
Yeah.
We did what we wanted, and we crushed your little hopes.
Fan though, I feel like I've been saying this to a few guys like the last few years, and I think Coach Saban last year was after the COVID season or 2021 or something like that.
It was.
I was telling people I feel like Bama stopped being Bama. You could say 2019, 2018, and people always ask me what you mean by that. I say Bama used to be a three-phase football team. They will beat you on offense, defense, and special teams from the start to the end. I felt like they started after Reuben Foster and all those guys left. All of you could say Anderson and all those linebackers like the Deron Paynes and stuff in 2018 and Jonathan Allen them. I feel like they started transitioning towards the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
I feel like they start transitioning to just focusing on the offensive side of the ball. They start bringing in all that speed over there, worrying about quarterbacks.
Just miles on, man.
And they got away from the actual, what really made Bama. And I feel like only people fear was the speed and the talent on offense. I stopped thinking that they stop getting the top guys on defense, the defensive line. Like they was always gonna get recruits, but it just wasn't the same. It didn't feel like the same. Like you go into a game with Alabama those last few years or whatever, and then you starting to wonder like, why the defense look so bad? This never happened at Bama with top recruits. But I'm just like, I feel like they just started transitioning, worrying about the offensive side of the ball, and the rest of the team fell off. And now they not getting the Jerry Jeudy's at receivers. They not actually getting those Damian Harris, Josh Jacobs running backs no more besides Jahmyr Gibbs that 1 year. But like, I don't know. I feel like now they just all over the place. Like the foundation of what Alabama
Right.
was is gone. People
I
still
agree.
fear them, but they don't fear that old Bama.
Right.
Like you
Right.
knew when you step on, like you got to buckle your chin, it's gonna be a dog fight. But like I just feel like since 2018, 19, like they just wasn't feared the same. And I tell a lot of people that, and
I
they be
agree.
like, I ain't really think of it like that. But I say
No,
I can
you're
kind of
right.
see why Nick Saban really walked away. I
Right.
know he kind of figured that out too.
And I've said it on the show, yeah, Saban's a godfather, but things were
Yeah, I
declining
can't
on
hear
his
y'all.
watch, and so, hey, man.
Wait, I can't hear y'all.
Oh,
Okay.
uh-oh. What happened? Let's
Uh-oh.
see.
Wait.
Huh? I think I'm still good on the mic.
Yeah,
Ian,
I don't know what happened.
we can hear you, brother. But I can't. Ian, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear
So,
Scoota too.
okay, Scooter. Yeah, I can hear you. Everything's good on our end, but it must be on your end there. Sorry about that, big guy.
Yeah, I can't hear y'all though. I don't know what the heck
All
going
right.
on.
Well, hang loose there, bud. So let's remove him. Okay, good. Yeah, thank you, Chris. All right, so dude, we got like let's see how many more minutes we got. We got 3 more minutes here, dude. You got anything you want to end with? I got a little something here I want to try to get through here if we can, but do your
Yeah,
thing,
man.
boss.
It was just a great show. Great
Absolutely.
guest, Scooter, man. I wish you much success. I hope that you're able to, put some fillers out there, man. But that was a great guy. Real intelligent, and he covered so many topics, man. Like if I had a kid, that had some interest out there, I would definitely listen very hard,
Yep.
to Mr. Harris there, man. So great guest.
I don't know if y'all saw that that smile on Scooter, man. That's what I'll remember most about Scooter. No matter what it was, whatever, he always had that smile, and I'm glad he was on our show. It was a hell of a show. And with that being said, I'm going to run out here with this. I got something I'm going to read real fast here that I put together. So for everybody that's out there listening, man, this is the Veteran Sports Voice podcast. Myself, former Army airborne and former Naval Submarine Fire Control Technician, and Ian also. I just did something stupid to myself. Ian is a former Naval Submarine Fire Control Technician. And anyway, this is like we said, when we brought this up a while back, that we were always going to have our veterans in our thoughts. And this is the holiday season. Everybody knows this is Christmas and it's the holidays. And this Christmas, while most of us are home with our family, I just want to pause for a moment and think about the men and women who aren't. Some are on watch, some are deployed, some are sitting in a barracks or on a ship, a tent, or some lonely room far away from everything that feels like home. And then there's our veterans. Some of us are surrounded by family. Some are fighting battles that no one sees. Trust me on that. And some are carrying memories that just don't take holidays. So here's my ask this Christmas, and I know this is going to be the same for my guy right here, Ian. Check on your people. Send the text. Make the call. Knock on the door. Especially the quiet ones. The ones who say everything's fine. Because it's not sometimes. And just you checking up makes a difference. And I tell you, that happened to me 1 year, and I appreciate it. And so, you know what? If today feels heavy, you're not weak. And if it feels lonely, you're not alone. And if today feels joyful, share that light with someone who needs it. Because from all of us here at Veteran Sports Voice, Merry Christmas. We see you, we honor you, and we got your 6. And with that, guys, appreciate y'all. Love y'all. And this is college sports spoken by the ones that served. We love you guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.